Hi, and welcome back to the Ascension Playground. My name's Ursie, and today I'm being joined on the playground with my dear friends Jimmy, who does our Healing Saturdays. Hi, Jimmy.
Hello.
And we have Anne-Marie, who's joined us on the playground before with Starseeds Rising. Hi, Anne-Marie. The focus of our chat today on the
Yes.
playground.
Yes,
I'm sorry.
I have a guest.
And her puppy too. Yeah, a guest of a guest. Our chat today is going to focus on going back to the Starseeds soul journey and that Galactic online calculator that was done and offered by Julia Balaz. So Anne-Marie and I are studying, and Jimmy has gratefully allowed to let us take a peek at his chart and share what we're finding so that you can get a taste of what it is to get a Starseeds soul journey report. But before we go into the Galactic, we pulled a card earlier, and we want to show you the animal that's joining us today. So here comes the animal with a message. Aha. So joining Anne-Marie, Jimmy, and I is the Nightingale spirit. And Nightingale is sitting atop this musical instrument saying that love is all around. The number 41, and the little birdie's got a crown. Glad it's not a canary, it's a nightingale. What do you guys think about the nightingale energy with us?
Like that.
Especially the message that love's all around.
Yes.
Yeah. And that reminds me, you know, when we gather, we open up our hearts and we invite our ascension, our team, our higher selves, anyone who wants to join us. So the thoughts that might come in through our heart space, well, that's where we start. Okay, Jimmy gave us his information, his birth information, and we went then to the Starseeds online calculator. And if you want to find it, I'll put it on in the description. But Jimmy, here's a shortened version of just in the star language of your oppositions and your conjunctions. By showing you this particular list, it might help us understand where you've been. And I'm going to pause now. Anne-Marie, would you like to just share anything about what you're seeing on this Starseeds Connection shortened version?
Well, we don't see any conjunctions or oppositions to the outer planets, which is normally where we look for clues as to what your origin is. So that leaves it a little bit of a mystery.
So the planet is Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus, right?
Yes.
In case someone doesn't know, what's an outer planet? It's so
I
far away
apologize.
we can't even see it. Sorry.
Yeah, they're the unseen planets, right? They're the outer unseen planets. So
you see that, Jimmy? Here's the line of Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus. These are all blank, is what Anne-Marie is saying right there. So we don't really have a clear perspective of your soul origin, which we normally would find in these three outer planets.
now that doesn't mean that you don't have conjunctions to stars there. They're just not part of the most common ones that are set into this calculator. So that would require more research to find what connections are to those planets.
Interesting.
I know, so we don't know where you're really from yet, so we'll have to leave that as a TBD.
Yeah, mystery.
The secret.
And then the next step, Anne-Marie, is?
We look at the inner planets, then the sun, the moon, and the ascendant to determine your most recent incarnations, where you may have come from directly to Earth from these different star systems. And so, you know, these energies would be really accessible to you during like meditations or dreams, or they could like even hit you spontaneously. Whereas the energies from the planets in the outer planets, because they're so ancient in you, they don't even feel alien anymore. They're just part of your own self-identity. So you've already incorporated those characteristics into your being. But the inner planet energies, because they're so recent, they may be a little bit more, oh, like you're just learning it and practicing it, and it seems more new. Do you have anything to add to that, Ursula?
Well, first of all, I love how you phrase that. You start with trying to find your origin by looking at the outer planets of Pluto, Neptune, or Uranus when you're on the online calculator. And then I like how you phrased the second step is to look at the most recent star system that you were at before this Earth life as Jimmy Munson, or as Jimmy, excuse me. So we look and see Centaurus on the sun line and Andromeda on the moon line. And the ascendant is blank for this particular mini report. So Centaurus, that would we would look at Centaurus then, right, Anne-Marie, as the energy or star nation that Jimmy might feel connected to, just based on when he learns what those qualities and characteristics are. So Centaurus. I'm going to stop sharing.
This doesn't tell us if it's a conjunction or an opposition yet, though. So
right,
that would be to the sun would be a very key one for sure.
So what we do next then is we go up to the report.
So can I ask a basic question?
Let's pause for a minute. Bring Jimmy back in.
Yeah.
We were just up in the galaxy.
So the difference between the conjunction or what you guys were saying earlier.
The opposition or the conjunction?
Yeah.
The conjunction is going to be a stronger connection. It's more positive. Whereas the opposition is you may be still having issues in establishing that characteristic into your being. It's because you had a strong connection to those star systems, clearly, but the lessons that you've learned there are still working their way in. I kind of think of that Boy George song, Karma Chameleon, it's going to just keep hitting until you get it right,
Okay.
Yeah.
So conjunction, you just think of it right next to it themselves. It's like blending their energies.
Okay.
And so you have an interesting aspect to Centaurus. And just, we're just laying this runway, Jimmy, and there's some words that you might go, oh, I have no idea what you guys are even talking about, but it'll make sense eventually, I hope, right?
Absolutely.
So we're just setting the runway. So I'm going to go back then to looking at your extended report. So we hit generate the extended, and it's going. It's processing. Sometimes this little guy takes a while to process. Well, here we go. So then we have to scroll down to the bottom. So Jimmy, we're just going to go and talk about your sun line to make it really super easy. Okay. Actually, we'll just do the first 3 lines. So with Anne-Marie and I, we're going to kind of zoom in on what might feel comfortable to you right now. Centaurus. And so we found you have an opposition within that constellation to the star called Beta Centauri, Hadar. And we see that the orb is very tight to your sun. It's within 10 minutes. So it's basically, that opposition is very, very tight. So it says to me, pay attention, pay attention. What do you think, Anne-Marie?
Yes, absolutely. That's the Hadarian connection definitely is strong. And it's an opposition so that those characteristics would keep bouncing in and like nudging you, saying, remember this, remember this.
So is there a way to know what those characteristics would be?
Sure. I know Ursula had some interest in Hadar.
did.
Yeah.
Well, I am going to embarrass myself, and let's see how I can do this. I'm going to go on YouTube and I am going to search for, I'm just going to put the word Hadarian starseed, right? Here we go. Boom, boom, boom. There is so,
It
I
is-
didn't even know there was a Hadarian starseed, but this is something that, since Jimmy asked, you know, who are the Hadarians and what is their connection to ancient Lemuria? That might be something, Jimmy, you might find interesting. Hadar is about the cosmic heart. Look at that heart. This lady's pretty cool. I like her, the
She
cosmic.
is. I like her. Yes. And
But
that
this
is,
guy,
that's the thing I know about them, is that they're very, it's unconditional love and just feeling the love. And when you brought up the nightingale and Jimmy, you said the best part about love is all around. That's definitely Hadarian.
Okay.
So,
I love how you said that. I don't know if I want this guy talking, but he's got some incredible traits for Hadar. Excuse me, I put up Haitians. That was a mistake. Let's see. Let me just stop the share there. So Haitian, Hadarian, ay ay ay. But let's just tune into this idea, Jimmy, as Anne Marie said, the great heart, the that connection with Jesus or mother. But it's even bigger than family. It's cosmic heart. And you're right, Anne Marie. This nightingale is telling us love is all around, and maybe that's why this little birdie came in. Um, I just love the synchronicities. You caught that one, girlfriend. So, Jimmy, there's something that tells me you came into this earth, this incarnation as Jimmy, with this big heart. And if we ask your family and friends, how does that sit with you? I think you would just get this magnification of yes, yes, and more yes. Do you resonate with that big, great cosmic heart?
I do.
I mean, for you to do healing every day, to support people you don't know, their pets as well. And this is a great way to say, people may not know you, but just knowing that you've got this Hadarian cosmic heart energy is huge, because it's not normal. Usually people, they think about our little tribe or our little world, whereas you are doing this, I think, since like the last 11 years, Jimmy, from 2011 to 2022. You've been doing it basically every day, wouldn't you say? Maybe a few oopses. Has it really been about every day?
Pretty much. Well,
wow.
last many years.
Hmm.
When I first started, wasn't sure what I was doing, so I don't know if I worked with energy every day, but I wasn't offering maybe the sessions every day in the way I do it now. So
Well, on that topic, would you mind explaining a little bit about what feels true for you when you're doing healings? If people give you their first name, city, state, and they're on the list, when you do.
in terms of what do you mean what feels true?
Oh, there goes Sophie. Like I know you start with a prayer.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
And so from the prayer, you're in a healing room in your home, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
And do you call in like ascended masters, your
I'm gonna
guide?
call in everybody.
Call in
So
all the
everyone's
ones.
everyone's angels and guides, and the Divine Father, Mother, Child, the archangels, angels, all the helping spirits from all directions. There's a lot. I have a list, but the planets, I actually call in the planets too.
Oh, wow.
The sun, the moon.
See, you've been cosmic. You haven't even let me know that. In the 11 years we've been friends, I never knew you called in the planets. That's wonderful.
I didn't realize I was cosmic.
Well, surprise. So healing energies. Now, we met with Eric Pearl's reconnection healing, but you tell me repeatedly that what you're offering is not specifically reconnection, right? It's more from your heart and allowing.
Well, what I feel too and experience a lot of times is magnetic. So, Eric never spoke about magnetics. So I just trust that it's healing and just do what I do. So.
Wow. Well, what do
Can
you
you
think?
pull up his chart again? Because there's something that I saw that really connected to that magnetic
Oh,
thing.
really?
She told me that yes. And when she first had me look at your chart and told me about the orbs, I immediately thought, well, the orbs have to do with like communication. And so I thought of the Mercury line. And
so let me get to your, see this line, Jimmy? Can you see my pointer?
Yep.
This is the Mercury line. And if I can figure out how to, here we go. I'm scrolling up to it so we can really tune in. I'm sorry, Anne-Marie, go right ahead. Here it is.
Yeah. And that second line, the second section there, it says Ursa Minor with Polaris. And Polaris is the North Star. And any connections to to Polaris, you're like a compass. You're like connected to the North Star. Do you have a really good sense of direction?
I do. Ever since I was a little kid.
Yeah. So that's that connection there. And that would be the magnetics of the planet and pulling you to the North Star, knowing which way is north, and then being aligned with that. I thought that was really cool. And then with the orbs that you have, and look at all the connections you have to your Mercury. So it's like all of that communication, all of those orbs are coming in and communicating with you from different places. I also look at the galactic center there, which is the center of the galaxy, the central sun, right? Is that right, Ursula? Am I saying that right?
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. It's the center of the Milky Way.
Okay, center of the galaxy. And that's like everything, energy pulls into that and comes from that. And so having that connection says that that's like a portal that you could have traveled through to get to other universes. So who knows where these are all coming from? And your Andromeda conjunction to the Andromeda galaxy is another one. And I mean, that's another portal. Yeah.
So he's got two portals on his Mercury line, which is, can you explain a little bit about Mercury, Anne-Marie?
Mercury is the planet of communication and travel, like neighborhood travel, it's siblings, it rules Virgo, and it also rules Gemini. And so it's, and because, well, okay, just to stay simple, it's communication. It's how we communicate. It's also the transactions of money and like when the transaction part of it. So when we interact, that's what Mercury is. And so here you're interacting with these orbs. And I just think that that's where that's coming from.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to go like pull my jaw up off the table because Starseeds Rising, Anne-Marie, she just tuned right in when I talked about this idea of orbs showing up. So I'll let the cat out of the bag. There's orbs showing up in your home, right? With the healing energy, etc. And sometimes they follow you to work. And we won't say where you live, but it's like, my goodness, Anne-Marie zoomed right in. Well, let's look at his Mercury line. And I love that, like hyper focus, like boom, because I don't know if I would have connected that dot to dot. So you got two portals, Jimmy, on your ability to communicate or even receive communications. So what if there's two portals where these orbs of light that come and assist? Now you can kind of get a flavor for where they might be from or how they're getting to you. And sometimes they're there and then sometimes they take a vacation, right? Like they don't come around. But typically now in this new energy, they're mostly with you. Is that correct?
I didn't check last night, but yeah, they
Do you talk to them?
I thank them for being there,
Yeah.
you know, and I'll ask the question if anyone's around, um, you know.
I wonder how
Yeah.
they would answer you.
You know, I haven't quite known what to make of them when it first started, so it's kind of an unfolding. So,
Well,
So
we
cool.
are planning a big reveal of sharing some of Jimmy's videos that he's been able to capture with your camera phone, right? So it's remarkable. They kind of show up like a strobe light party. I mean, I've had like one or two little things kind of peek around or move through. I think it's a speck of dust. Jimmy, no, he's kind of like, and
I've seen the videos. I know.
you know, right? So we'll do that sharing. But we wanted to start with the Starseeds connection and try and figure out one, where you're from, Jimmy. Couldn't figure out your origin, but we do understand you've got that layer of Beta Centaurian Hadar, the great cosmic heart love in you. And the orbs study that I have done and read about is orbs love sacred ground. They like dogs and children. They like to be around happy places. And we've seen them in healing areas. So I remember the Filipino healers, you know, we could see like someone doing psychic surgery and then the orbs would fly in to help.
it's very cool. Yeah.
Yeah, there's also that lady, Dorothy Izot, there's a Netflix movie called Capturing the Light, where she actually used a 30mm camera to capture orbs. And as a grandma, everyone thought she was crazy.
Well, and she also captured craft, you know.
Oh, I know. Well, we don't want to go
Really?
there just yet.
Wow.
Well, that's galactic.
I
Yeah.
know, but I get a little freaked out with the crafty part. I mean, and we both have that, I think that Martian Galactic card deck. One of them looks like someone in the card deck, but I don't want to make anyone
Is that
afraid.
me?
My people, my people. Well, let me go back to the chart. I'm going to go back and see. So, Jimmy, you've got your Mercury, your planet of communication at Aries, and the later degree. We can round it up to Aries 29, let's say, in the ninth house of, Sagittarius. So it's interesting. When Anne Marie pointed this out, here's a portal, the vertex of the Andromeda galaxy, and then the galactic center is trining your Mercury. So you got two portals just on this communication aspect. Now, it doesn't mean like you personally are going to be this eloquent communicator. It may just be that you have this ability to somehow communicate, maybe even telepathically, is what I sense. I'm going to pause there. Anything else about these two portals on your Mercury line? Is it all cosmic to you? Well,
I would say the trine to the galactic center, the trines are the gifts that we bring in from those star systems. And so that's a positive connection. It's a supporting connection. And so that would indicate then that, you've had, those are positive experiences you've had in going through the galactic center. It's a learning experience for you in the past, in past lives, or your soul's past experiences.
and I would just add my little cheat sheet on the Galactic Center to support what Starseeds Rising just said, that the Galactic Center is the center of the Milky Way. But get this, Julia Balaz teaches that the center is a transmitter, Jimmy, of divine consciousness.
Wow.
It's sending divine consciousness through the center of the Milky Way, and you have access specifically for communication. And I'm thinking telepathic communication. For anyone listening who wants to understand where their chart might also include an aspect to the galactic center, the degree to look at is 27 degrees Sagittarius, 9 minutes. Julia then goes on to say, not only is it a transmitter of divine consciousness, Jimmy, but you have a role to play with higher consciousness through your Mercury line. I'm going to add that part. So there's something specific. It's not just, oh, isn't that nice? No, there's something specific about playing a role with higher consciousness. And I'm going to pause. What do you think that means, Jimmy? Or how do you sense it means?
I'd like to know what Anne Marie thinks.
Yeah, let's throw it, lob it over. What do you think, Anne Marie?
Well, from what I understand that you do, this healing, I think, is very connection from the divine. And you're doing it through communication. It's not like, you're not talking to people, but you're communicating with all of those higher ups that you're calling in and communicating healing to those on your list. So I think that that's definitely working through the Galactic Center.
Well,
Could definitely be
interesting.
connected that way. How does that feel?
That resonates. So yeah. I was actually kind of thinking maybe the communication was actually the energy moving through what I feel through my hands too. Maybe that's a form of communication too. I don't know. It's just speculation. So.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because I did a little bit of a deep dive and dug around, and I found something else that was extraordinary about your chart. And if you don't mind, I'm going to pause so we can go find your astrology wheel, and I'm going to show you so you see it visually where the Galactic Center is and where this other key point that could very well be you working with magnetics for healing. So if you don't mind,
I don't mind.
We'll be right back. Well, we're back. So we're going to continue our conversation with Jimmy and Anne Marie and I, and we'd like to talk to you one more thing about his starseed journey. This is like a mini reading. Well, we went to a program called AstroSeek, SEEK.com. It's a great website to take a look at Jimmy's astrological natal wheel. What that cosmic language speak really is saying is, at the moment that Jimmy was born, his soul incarnated into this specific geometry. So you chose this cosmic wardrobe that has a casting character to really understand how to navigate in this particular lifetime. I brought this chart up because I wanted to point out something very specific. Anne Marie found 2 portal openings on Jimmy's natal Mercury line. Okay. And then I went to go hunt for Jimmy's fascination and commitment to healing, and healing in particular with magnetic energy. Jimmy, the first moment I met you over a lunch table, you were talking about the magnetics you could feel in your hands at that Eric Pearl reconnection meeting or training. So I went to look, and if everyone looks at where 14 degrees Sagittarius in 2 minutes. So here's the symbol or glyph for Sagittarius. Can you see that little prompt? Okay, that's Sagittarius. 14 degrees, 2 minutes. So we go 5, 10, and look what's so close to this little glyph is the south node, right? And the north node is this little guy up here. So it's forming an axis, the head and tail of the dragon that is a point in your life where you've learned from the south node and now you're being asked to step into the north node. All that means is, Jimmy, I found a point where the great attractor is in alignment with your south node. It's what you came in with. What is the great attractor? Holy moly. It's the black hole of all black holes. And Julia Balaz teaches us that if it is aspected like yours is, it's conjunct your south node, then you may be here for a soul agreement to learn to work with, get this, dun, 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 magnetic energy during your life. I'm going to say that again because I'm like, oh, it's the biggest, blackest hole that is aspecting you so that your soul agreement is to learn how to work with magnetic energy. So you came in with this. And when Julia talks about the great attractor, which is different than the galactic center, this is like, it's a magnetic black hole that draws everything into it. If you think of the great attractor, the Milky Way is like our hometown. We think it's big, but the great attractor is like the home country. So it's bigger than big. And so let me just, because I'm having trouble speaking right now because I'm so excited, the great attractor pulls things in, but it spits something out. It streams out light. And this light is about multi-dimensional consciousness. So somehow connecting the dots with what the great attractor does is it pulls things into its black hole, and then it spits out rays of light so that multidimensional consciousness goes out not just to our galaxy, but to all these other galaxies within the galaxies. There's a site called The Cosmic Path, cosmicpath.com, if people want to learn more about it. But Jimmy, the great attractor sits at 14 degrees Sagittarius. Natally, it's sitting for you at 13 degrees Sagittarius because it shifts a little bit. So I went back to your birth year. But so Anne-Marie, 13 degrees Sagittarius, 25 minutes. Look at Jimmy's south node. It's just like 14 degrees. So I'm going to pause there, but I wanted to show you this picture. Here's Sagittarius. So within that Sagittarius, you're going to see the galactic center and the great attractor. What does all this mean? Like magnetic energy. I don't have it.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, when I look at the South Node, I always look to that for past lives, because those are talents and gifts that I always call the South Node the carry-on bag. You came into this life with these skill sets that you wanted for this lifetime. It's not the stuff you checked in, but it's the stuff you're bringing with you. And so coming right from the galactic attractor, the great attractor, I think you're bringing in an awful lot of light into this world. I also think that the healing that we're talking about, I always look to the 6th house of health, and you had your part of fortune in the 6th house. And so the part of fortune is doing the thing that you want to do that you are going to enjoy the most. Well, there it is in the house of healing. Also, Virgo is related to health and healing. And you have Pluto, Uranus, and Mars. And Mars not only is the god of war, but he is the god of action and the motivation, what we want to do and what we want to move forward in. And so there it is, conjunct Pluto, the god of power, the source of our power, and Uranus, the electricity, the planet of electricity, and Mars right there too. So I'm not at all surprised that you have this gift of healing.
Well, I don't know if it's a gift. I kind of think everyone could do it.
And that's your humility. It's the humbleness speaks too of coming in from that divine energy, for sure. If you didn't have that humbleness, that almost confirms the divinity of it, right? So that's beautiful.
This is fascinating. So thank you both.
I have to say, we've said a lot of words that may be new to most people. It's the language, astrology, star seeds, great attractor, galactic center. And then we didn't even talk about the super galactic center, but we'll save that for another time. But Jimmy, as your friend, Anne-Marie and I were able to underscore just a brief taste of why you perhaps feel this inclination to working with magnetics and why it buoys you as a healer, or as someone who wants to help others with this great cosmic heart from Hadar. You know, we didn't talk about how Andromeda shows up also in your Starseeds journey. Also, the little dog, Canis Minor, shows up twice in your specific aspects, and Hyades. So those are just names. But if I was to summarize, and then I'll turn it to Anne Marie so she can offer her in summary as we bookend you. You are quite special when it comes to why you're here now and what you're doing and what you're sharing. Keep going. And what we're hoping to do with the Ascension Playground that is newly formed to support Healing Saturdays, I'm hoping people will understand this is coming from Jimmy's heart. There's no website, there's no fee. He does what he does because he has this Hadarian cosmic heart. I truly have never met someone as loving as you, Jimmy, feeding the birds, feeding the bunnies, feeding the dogs, feeding people, healing energy, and you have a huge day job that's turned into more of a night and day job. So I just say there's something specific to your Starseeds journey that wanted to come through now, that you have access to multidimensional consciousness to share. And you know, I'm going to read this again. You have a soul agreement to learn to work with this magnetic energy, Jimmy, during your life. So you can check the box and keep going, my friend. Anne Marie, tossing the ball to you.
I can't see anything to top that. I would just say that just having heard all of this and just allowing it to permeate into you, not just into your mind, but down into your heart, I think will open you up to even more. I think you'll just grow even more from that, because I think the more we learn about these things and open up to the idea of the stars, they shine even brighter for us. So
Wow.
Keep going, like Ursula said.
It's like you have a very special purpose and you have access to very potent energy for the greater good of all.
It's very cool. Thank you.
Oh, you are welcome. Well, we're going to wrap it up there. I'm just going to give one more plug. If anyone else wants to be added to the Healing Saturdays list, Jimmy provides daily remote healing from the list of names we send to him with your first name, your city, state, and country if you're outside the United States. So, and just permission from your heart to receive typically around 6:15 Central Time, Central Standard Time, until 6:40 Central Standard Time. So if you're able to sit and just let yourself have that break.
But also, if they're not able to do that, it's offered with the intent that they can ask to receive it later or over and over, or again when they lay down to sleep, because, you know, life schedules and people are busy. So
That's a good point. You can replay it in quantum. And Jimmy's got the email. If you don't want to put it in the chat room or the comment section, you can send an email to Jimmy at Healing Saturdays, plural, Healing Saturdays 1121@gmail.com. Thank you, Anne Marie, Starseeds Rising. Thank you, Jimmy, Healing Saturdays. Hope to see you all next time on the Ascension Playground. Bye for now.
bye.